The sun rose over the hills of New Hope Colony, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink. Jack Miller stood at the window of his small house, watching as his 8-year-old twins prepared for school. Sam struggled with his shoelaces, while Amy packed their lunches with careful precision. "Dad, can we go to the lake this weekend?" Sam asked, finally conquering his shoes. Jack smiled, his weathered face softening. 10 years as a Marine had left him with scars, but 5 years as a diplomat had given him perspective. "If I don't get called in for work, absolutely." New Hope was humanity's furthest colony, established after Earth made peaceful contact with 3 alien species. As the colony's assistant diplomat, Jack helped maintain those relationships. It wasn't always easy, but it was better than war. Amy handed her brother his lunch. "Miss Kelly says we're learning about the Galadrians today. Their home planet has 4 suns." "That's right," Jack said, checking his watch. "And you'll be late if we don't leave now." "Let's go, troops." They walked together down the curved path toward the colony center. Other families did the same, children laughing and adults greeting each other with nods and smiles. The school sat near the diplomatic buildings where Jack worked. "Remember, Aunt Carol is picking you up today," Jack reminded them as they reached the school gates. "I've got a meeting that might run late." The twins hugged him before running inside. Jack watched them go, then headed to his office, unaware that this ordinary morning would be the last normal moment for a long time. 3 hours later, Jack's communicator buzzed. "Miller here." "Jack, we need you at Outpost 7, said his boss, Greg Porter. "Sensors picked up something strange at the edge of our system." Jack frowned. "I'm scheduled for the welcome briefing for the new species, the Vrexians. That's been delayed. They're still in orbit, doing their own scans. This could be nothing, but better safe than sorry." "On my way," Jack said, heading for the transport hub. Outpost 7 was 30 minutes away by shuttle. As Jack worked through the minor sensor malfunction with the technicians, his communicator stayed silent. By the time he discovered the malfunction was actually just migrating space fauna, 2 hours had passed. His communicator finally buzzed again. Greg's voice came through, but something was wrong. The man sounded out of breath, panicked. "Jack, get back here now. The Vrexians, they attacked without warning. They went straight for the school." Jack felt his heart stop. The school. What about the children? They took some of them, maybe 20. They were gone before defense systems came online. The shuttle ride back was the longest of Jack's life. When he arrived, the colony was in chaos. Emergency services moved through the streets, helping the injured. Parents gathered outside the damaged school building, many crying, others shouting at colony officials. Jack pushed through the crowd, searching desperately for Sam and Amy. He found Carol, his sister-in-law, sitting on a bench, her face streaked with tears. "Carol, where are they? Where are Sam and Amy?" She looked up, her eyes red and swollen. "I'm sorry, Jack. I'm so sorry. They took them. The aliens took both of them." Jack felt his knees weaken. "No, that's not possible. Why would they take children?" A colony security officer approached. "Mr. Miller, we need you at command." They left a message, demanding territory and resources in exchange for the hostages. Jack stood straight, his diplomatic calm morning with parental rage. "These Vrexians, what do we know about them?" "Not much. Hierarchical predator species. First contact was going well until they did this." Jack's hands clenched into fists. His Marine training and diplomatic experience battled in his mind. "They don't understand what they've done, do they?" The officer looked confused. "Sir, they have no idea what happens when you take human children." Jack's voice was quiet but deadly. "But they're going to learn." Around him, other parents stood with the same terrible determination in their eyes. The Vrexians had made a mistake that would echo across the galaxy. They had taken children from the most protective species in known space and humanity's rage would soon be unbound. The command center buzzed with urgent voices and hurried movement. Earth leadership had gathered for an emergency meeting, faces grim as they studied the data before them. Jack sat silently, his mind filled with images of Sam and Amy scared and alone. Admiral Kate Donovan stood at the front of the room, her gray hair pulled back tightly. She tapped the display, bringing up an image of a tall, reptilian creature with amber eyes. "This is what we know about the Phyrexians," she said. "They evolved as apex predators on a harsh world. Their society values strength above all else. Taking hostages is a standard negotiation tactic for them." She paused, looking directly at Jack. "They expect us to give in to their demands. No one has told them that humans have a unique protective instinct toward our young." Dr. Lily Ortiz, the colony's lead xenobiologist, stepped forward. She was small but spoke with authority. "Admiral Donovan is right," she said. "I studied 17 sentient species. None react to threats against their offspring the way humans do. Most species produce many young, expecting only a few to survive. Others negotiate logically when faced with such situations." Greg Porter shook his head. "So they have no idea what they've done?" "None," Dr. Ortiz confirmed. "They see children as leverage, not as a line that should never be crossed." A message alert sounded. The large screen filled with the image of a Phyrexian, its scales gleaming under harsh lights. "Humans," the alien said, voice translated through the computer. "We hold your younglings. Our terms are simple. Surrender the mining rights to your outer planets and withdraw from the tourist sector. You have 2 Earth days to comply." The transmission ended. The room fell silent. Admiral Donovan turned to the gathered officials. "Options. We have to negotiate," one diplomat suggested. "While we organize a rescue," another added firmly. Jack stood up. "I want to join the rescue mission." All eyes turned to him. "I know both diplomacy and combat. I know my children. I can help." Admiral Donovan studied him for a moment. "I was hoping you'd volunteer. We're assembling a small strike team. The stealth vessel U.S. Nightshade is being prepared as we speak." Across the room, a tall man with dark skin nodded. "I'm Captain Frank Yang. The Nightshade is my ship. We could use someone with your background, Miller." Jack thanked him with a nod. Meanwhile, aboard the Phyrexian flagship Sovereign Claw, Amy Miller sat with her arms around her younger brother. Around them, 18 other children huddled in a large holding cell. The air felt too hot, the gravity slightly wrong. "When will they let us go home?" a small boy named Joey asked, tears running down his face. "Soon," Amy promised, though she wasn't sure. "Our parents will come for us." A Phyrexian guard watched them through a transparent barrier, head tilted in curiosity. Another approached, speaking in their clicking language. "The human younglings refuse food," the first guard said. "They also do not compete with each other as expected." The second guard snorted. "Weak species. No wonder they are so easy to dominate." Inside the cell, Sam glared at them. "I heard that. Your translator works both ways." The guard seemed surprised. The first one stepped closer to the barrier. "You should fear us, youngling." "My dad was a Marine," Sam said proudly. "He taught us not to show fear." The guard made a dismissive gesture. "Your parental unit will submit to our demands. That is what civilized species do." Amy stood up, still holding Sam's hand. "You don't know humans very well, do you?" Back on New Hope, Captain Yang briefed the rescue team. 6 elite soldiers, Jack and Dr. Ortiz, would attempt to infiltrate the Phyrexian flagship. "This is not just a rescue mission," Captain Yang said. "It's also about sending a message. The galaxy needs to understand that taking human children crosses a line that cannot be uncrossed." Jack checked his weapon, a cold determination settling over him. "The Phyrexians think they understand warfare," he said quietly. "They have no idea what humanity is capable of when our children are threatened." Dr. Ortiz touched his arm gently. "We'll get them back, Jack. The U.S. Nightshade prepared for departure, its experimental engines humming to life. The hunt had begun. Susan Garcia stood tall before the screen showing the Vrexian diplomatic party. As Earth's top diplomat, she had faced tough negotiations before, but never with children's lives at stake. Her job today was simple but difficult. Keep the aliens talking while the rescue team did their work. The Earth Council needs more time to consider your demands, she said calmly. Surrendering mining rights affects many systems. We cannot rush such decisions. The lead Vrexian, Ambassador Drac, flared his neck scales in what Susan recognized as a sign of pleasure. He thought he had the upper hand. Time is not unlimited, human, he said, but we are reasonable. You have one more Earth day to decide. Susan nodded respectfully while silently noting that the Vrexians had just given away valuable intelligence. They weren't planning to harm the children immediately. That bought the Nightshade more time. Far from this conversation, the sleek black form of the U.S. Nightshade slipped through space, its experimental cloaking technology hiding it from Vrexian sensors. Inside the ship's briefing room, Jack studied the holographic display of the Sovereign Claw. Their security is concentrated here and here, said Peter Williams, the team's intelligence officer. He pointed to red areas on the display. But maintenance tunnels run throughout the ship. They're designed for repair drones, but a human could fit. Dr. Ortiz added, Vrexians respect shows of dominance. If confronted, stand tall and speak loudly. Never show fear. She paused. But understand this, they have no concept of what humans call war crimes. They will do anything to win. Captain Yang nodded, which is why we need to be smarter, not just stronger. He zoomed in on a section of the display. Our intelligence suggests the children are being held here, near the command center. They keep valuable assets close to leadership. Jack studied the path they would need to take. What about their environmental needs? Vrexian ships run hot and with heavier gravity. The children's area seems to have adjusted settings, Peter said, though maybe not perfectly. Vrexians don't understand human biology well. Jack thought of Sam's asthma. The boy might be struggling in alien air. There's something else you should know, Dr. Ortiz said quietly. Scans indicate there are other holding cells near the human children. The Vrexians have done this before. Other species' children are aboard. A heavy silence fell over the room. How many? Jack asked. We can't be sure. At least a dozen, maybe more. Captain Yang's expression hardened. Then we saved them all. While the Nightshade neared its target, Amy Miller organized the children in their holding cell. She had divided the oldest kids into groups, each responsible for helping the younger ones. They shared the alien food that seemed safe and took turns telling stories to keep spirits up. My dad says he can tell when people are lying, she told Sam quietly as they sat against the wall. These Vrexians don't think our parents will come for us. Sam nodded. They don't understand humans at all. In another cell nearby, non-human children huddled together. Some had been there for months. They watched the newly arrived humans with curiosity. Unlike other species young, these humans didn't submit quietly. They organized. They planned. They watched the guards for weaknesses. Meanwhile, in Earth space, a fleet gathered quietly. While Susan Garcia kept the Vrexians distracted with diplomatic talks, Admiral Donovan prepared for war. Ships moved into position silently, their weapons primed but dormant. We go in quiet, the Admiral told her captains. We give the Nightshade every chance to succeed. But if diplomacy fails and the rescue team can't extract our children. She paused, her face like stone. Then we show the galaxy why taking human children is the last mistake any species should make. The captains nodded in understanding. They had children of their own. They knew what was at stake. The lines had been drawn. Now it was time to cross them. The U.S. Nightshade drifted silently alongside the massive Vrexian flagship. Through the viewport, Jack could see the Sovereign Claw's hull stretching for what seemed like miles, its surface marked with strange symbols and weapon ports. Maintenance hatch located, Lieutenant Alex Martinez said from the pilot's seat. The young officer guided their small boarding craft toward a barely visible seam in the alien ship's hull. Captain Yang stood behind Jack, checking his gear one last time. Remember the plan. 2 teams. I lead the diversion to their engineering section. Jack, you take Martinez and Dr. Ortiz to find the children. The strike team nodded. 8 humans against a ship of thousands. The odds were terrible, but not one person hesitated. Docking complete, Martinez reported. Cutting through now. The laser cutter sliced through the alien metal, creating an opening just large enough for a human to squeeze through. Jack went first, sliding into the hot, dimly lit maintenance tunnel. The air felt thick and smelled like copper. Gravity's heavier than Earth standard, Dr. Ortiz whispered as she entered behind him. About 20%. Watch your movements. The team split up at the first junction. Captain Yang's group headed toward the engineering section to plant explosives, not to destroy the ship, but to create a distraction if needed. Jack led his team deeper into the vessel, following the path they had memorized. Motion sensor, Martinez warned, pointing to a small device on the wall. Jack nodded and pulled out a small cylinder. The jammer would create a loop in the sensor's feed for 30 seconds, just enough time to pass undetected. They moved forward quickly. 3 decks up, they encountered their first Vrexian guards. 2 tall, muscular aliens stood at a junction, carrying energy weapons that glowed faintly blue. Martinez signaled for them to wait, then pointed to a side passage. But before they could move, one of the guards turned in their direction, amber eyes narrowing. Intruders, the guard hissed in his own language. The Vrexians moved with frightening speed, but the humans were ready. Martinez fired first, a stun blast that caught one guard in the chest. The alien staggered but didn't fall. Vrexians were much harder to incapacitate than humans. The second guard lunged at Jack, slashing with clawed hands. Jack ducked under the attack and drove his fist into the sensitive spot below the Vrexian's jaw that Dr. Ortiz had identified in their briefing. The guard gasped and stumbled. Working together, the humans subdued both aliens without killing them. Jack's team had strict orders. Lethal force only as a last resort. They needed to be better than their enemies. They'll be missed soon, Martinez said, binding the unconscious guards. Jack nodded. We need to hurry. 2 decks higher, they found the first holding cells. Inside were children, but not human ones. Small blue-skinned creatures with 4 arms huddled together, looking terrified. Next to them was a cell containing furry younglings with large eyes. Paxians and Moran children, Dr. Ortiz whispered. Both peaceful species from the Orient sector. Jack felt sick. The Vrexians have been doing this for some time. Dr. Ortiz stepped forward. I'll stay and help these children. Many look ill. You and Martinez continue to find the human children. Jack nodded reluctantly. Splitting up was risky, but they couldn't leave these alien children suffering. As they moved on, Jack and Martinez overheard 2 Vrexian officers talking in a nearby corridor. The human younglings continue to resist, one said. They refuse to compete for resources as expected. Strange species, the other replied. Their protective instinct toward offspring is inefficient. Most species understand that the weak must be sacrificed. Perhaps this will teach humans their place in the galactic order. Jack's hand tightened on his weapon, but Martinez touched his arm, reminding him of their mission. Meanwhile, in the human holding cell, Amy had fashioned a makeshift weapon from a broken piece of alien equipment. The children had noticed the guard schedule. A 3-minute gap occurred between shift changes. When the time comes, she told the others, we run together. Stay in your groups. Sam nodded seriously. Dad always says, Marines never leave anyone behind. A small alarm began to sound in the distance. The children looked at each other with hope. Someone had come for them. Jack and Martinez moved quickly through the corridors, following the ship's layout they had memorized. The alarms grew louder as they approached the central holding area where the human children were kept. "Something's happening," Martins whispered. "Could be Captain Yang's distraction." Or, a loud crash echoed from ahead, followed by alien shouts. Jack and Martinez exchanged glances, then broke into a run. They turned the corner to find chaos. The door to the human holding cell stood open. 3 Vrexian guards struggled with a group of children who fought with surprising coordination. Amy stood at the center, wielding her makeshift weapon, while Sam helped a smaller child escape a guard's grasp. In that moment, Jack felt both incredible pride and terrible fear. A large Vrexian guard noticed the new arrivals and turned toward them, raising his weapon. Martinez fired first, the stun blast hitting the alien's shoulder. The guard staggered but kept coming. "Sam, Amy," Jack shouted. Both children looked up, their faces lighting with hope and relief. "Dad," they cried together. The Vrexian guard closest to Sam used this distraction to grab the boy roughly. Sam cried out in pain as the alien lifted him by one arm. Jack felt something snap inside him. All his military training, all his years of diplomatic restraint. Everything disappeared in an instant. The only thing that remained was the primal instinct to protect his child. He moved faster than he ever had before, crossing the distance to the guard in seconds. The Vrexian had no time to react before Jack's fist connected with his throat. As the alien dropped Sam, Jack caught his son with one arm while striking again with the other. "Don't touch my son," he growled, his voice barely human. Around them, Martinez was helping the other children while engaging a second guard. Amy had already organized the older kids to help the younger ones. The third guard backed away, amber eyes wide with something new. Fear, Vrexian's respected strength, and what he saw in Jack's eyes terrified him. "What are you?" the guard hissed. Jack didn't answer. He checked Sam quickly for injuries, finding only bruises, then gathered both his children close for a brief moment. "Are you hurt?" he asked urgently. "We're okay, Dad," Amy said, her voice steadied despite everything. "I knew you'd come." Martinez approached, supporting a limping child. "We need to move. The whole ship knows we're here now." Jack nodded and activated his communicator. "Captain Yang, we have the children." Extraction wrote. Static answered him. Then Captain Yang's voice came through, strained and breathless. "Main route blocked. Fall back to secondary. We've set charges in the engine section. 10 minutes." Before Jack could respond, the ship-wide communication system activated. A deep, authoritative Vrexian voice filled the corridors. "Attention, human vessel approaching Vrexian space. This is Admiral Donovan of the Earth Fleet. Return our children immediately or face extinction." The Vrexian response came swiftly, broadcast throughout the ship. "Your threats are meaningless, human. We have superior numbers and firepower. Submit to our demands or watch your younglings suffer." Jack exchanged glances with Martinez. They hadn't expected the fleet so soon. Meanwhile, in another part of the ship, the Vrexian Supreme Commander Kraz Hull stood on his bridge, watching the approaching human vessels with disdain. "They send so few ships against us," he said to his officers. "Humans are even weaker than we thought." His tactical officer looked uncertain. "Supreme Commander, the human ships are deploying in attack formation Alpha 7. It is a highly aggressive stance." Kraz Hull dismissed this with a wave. "They bluff. No species would risk war over younglings. It is not logical." Back in the holding area, Jack organized the children for evacuation. 20 human children looked to him with trust and fear in their eyes. "Listen carefully," he told them. "Stay together. Follow Lieutenant Martinez's orders. We're going home." Amy helped a small boy to his feet. "What about the other children? The aliens?" Jack looked at his daughter with pride. Even in danger, she thought of others. "Dr. Ortiz is helping them," he assured her. "We're not leaving anyone behind." The ship shuddered suddenly, lights flickering. The battle had begun. The ship rocked violently again as Jack led the children through the narrow corridors. Martins moved ahead, securing their path, while Jack kept the group together. Sam stayed close to his father, helping the smaller children move quickly. Amy brought up the rear, making sure no one fell behind. "Dad, where are we going?" Sam asked, his voice steady despite his fear. "To a shuttle bay," Jack replied, checking his map. "Captain Yang's team will meet us there." Another explosion shook the ship, stronger this time. The lights flickered and emergency signals flashed along the walls. "The fleet is engaging them," Martin said, checking his communicator. "They're creating a path for our escape." They turned a corner and found themselves facing a squad of 6 Vrexian soldiers. Jack pushed the children back as Martinez fired, propping one alien before taking cover. "Stay back," Jack ordered the children, moving forward to join Martinez. The 2 men fought with skill born from years of training, but they were outnumbered. A blast struck the wall near Jack's head. Another grazed Martinez's arm. The lieutenant winced but kept fighting. Suddenly, from behind them, 3 more Vrexians appeared. The humans were trapped. "Surrender, humans," the lead Vrexian ordered. Jack and Martinez exchanged looks. They couldn't fight in both directions while protecting the children. Before they could decide, a voice boomed over the ship's communication system. "All forces, report to defense stations. Human vessels are breaking through Sector 7. The distraction gave Jack and Martinez the moment they needed. They struck simultaneously, disabling the closest guards. In the confusion, they hurried the children down a side passage. "That route will take longer," Martinez warned, consulting his device. "But it's safer," Jack replied. "The children come first." As they moved deeper into the ship, they encountered fewer guards. Most had been called to battle stations to defend against the human fleet. They were halfway to the shuttle bay when heavy footsteps approached from ahead. A door slid open, revealing a tall Vrexian in ornate armor. Behind him stood 4 elite guards. "I am Supreme Commander Kraz Full," the Vrexian announced, his voice deep and confident. "You have invaded my ship and disrupted my plans." Jack pushed Sam behind him, signaling Martinez to guard the other children. "You captured human children," Jack said, his voice cold with rage. "Are you insane?" Kraz Full tilted his head, genuinely confused. "Insane? No. It is standard practice to take younglings as leverage. All civilized species understand this." "Not humans," Jack said. "Never humans. In our entire history, across thousands of years and countless wars, there has been one constant. You don't target children. It's the fastest way to unite every human against you." The ship shuddered again, more violently. Alarms blared. "Supreme Commander," a voice called over the communication system. "The human fleet has disabled our main weapons. They target our engines but avoid crew quarters. This is not standard warfare." Kraz Full's eyes narrowed. "Explain." Jack stepped forward. "They could destroy this entire ship, but they won't. Not while children are aboard. They're disabling you piece by piece. If you want to survive this, release all the children and surrender." Kraz Full's scales flared in anger. "Vrexians do not surrender." He turned to his guards. "Kill one child to show these humans the price of defiance." A guard moved toward Amy. Jack lunged forward, but 2 guards blocked his path. Before anyone could act further, the entire section of the ship shook violently. Captain Yang's voice came through Jack's communicator. "Charges detonated. Ship's internal systems failing. Get to the shuttle bay now." The lights failed completely, plunging the corridor into darkness. Emergency lighting flickered on seconds later, casting everything in a dim red glow. In that moment of confusion, Jack struck. His fist connected with Kraz Full's jaw, sending the Supreme Commander staggering backward. Martinez engaged the guards, creating a path for the children. "Run," Jack shouted to the children. "Follow Lieutenant Martinez." As the children fled, Jack faced Kraz Full alone. The Vrexian commander drew himself up to his full height, nearly 7 feet tall. "You fight well," "Human," he said, "but you cannot win." Jack's eyes were cold. "You still don't understand. When it comes to protecting our children, humans don't know how to lose." The red emergency lights cast strange shadows as Jack and Krasthul circled each other in the corridor. Despite the Vrexians' greater size and strength, Jack moved with the calm focus of a parent protecting his children. "Your fleet cannot defeat our empire," Krasthul said. "This is just one ship." Jack dodged a powerful strike, using the heavier gravity to his advantage. "This isn't about defeating your empire. It's about teaching you a lesson." Their fight was interrupted by another explosion that rocked the ship. Jack used the moment to break away, running after the children. Krasthul followed, his longer legs closing the distance quickly. Ahead, Martinez guided the children toward the shuttle bay. Dr. Ortiz had joined them, bringing the alien children she had rescued. Together, they hurried the mixed group of younglings through the chaos of the failing ship. Captain Yang and his team waited at the shuttle bay entrance. "Hurry," he called. "The ship's life support is failing in sections." As the children boarded the waiting shuttle, Jack appeared from a side corridor, Krasthul close behind him. The Supreme Commander's anger had turned to desperation. "Stop," he commanded. "Those younglings are my leverage." Captain Yang aimed his weapon at the Vrexian leader. "Not anymore." Krasthul paused, finally seeing the determination in the human's eyes. For the first time, doubt crept into his expression. "This war will cost you dearly," he warned. Jack shook his head. "This isn't war yet. This is just parents coming for their children. If we wanted war, your entire fleet would already be destroyed." The shuttle bay shuddered as another explosion echoed through the ship. A voice came over the communication system. "Supreme Commander, the human ships are surrounding us. Our weapons are disabled. 3 other Vrexian vessels have been immobilized without destruction." Krasthul's eyes widened in surprise. "Impossible. Their fleet is smaller than ours. They target engines and weapon systems with surgical precision." The voice continued. "They avoid crew quarters. This is most unusual warfare." As realization dawned on the Supreme Commander's face, Jack joined the others on the shuttle. The door sealed shut just as Krasthul lunged forward. The last thing Jack saw was the alien leader's expression changing from rage to understanding. The shuttle broke free from the dying flagship, speeding toward the waiting Nightshade. Around them, the space battle continued, but true to Jack's words, the human fleet disabled rather than destroyed the Vrexian ships where possible. Sam pressed his face against the viewport. "Look, Dad, our ships are everywhere." Amy sat beside Dr. Ortiz, helping comfort a small Paxian child. "What will happen to them?" she asked, nodding toward the alien children. "We'll take care of them until we can find their families," Dr. Ortiz promised. 3 days later, Jack stood with his children in the Great Hall of the Galactic Council. Representatives from 12 species had gathered for an emergency session about what was now being called the Children's War. Admiral Donovan addressed the assembly. "The Vrexian Empire has signed a formal surrender and agreed to our terms. All children have been returned to their families. Reparations will be paid to affected colonies." A tall, blue-skinned Paxian rose. "We owe humanity a debt. For generations, the Vrexians took our children, and we believed we had no choice but to comply. You have shown us there is always a choice." After the session, Susan Garcia approached Jack with news. "The Vrexians have requested to reopen diplomatic channels. Apparently, Krasthul told his government that they fundamentally misunderstood human nature. They'd wish to learn." Jack nodded, watching Sam and Amy playing with children from 3 different species. Already, the barriers of fear were breaking down. "What did they learn?" Amy asked her father later that evening. Jack hugged his children close. "They learned what every species in the galaxy now knows, that humans will cross the stars, face impossible odds, and challenge even the most powerful enemies to protect our children. And other children, too," Sam added softly, thinking of the alien younglings they had rescued. Jack smiled. "Yes, All children. That's who we are. Across the galaxy, a new understanding spread. In diplomatic briefings and cultural exchanges, one warning was always given. Respect human boundaries, especially regarding their young. For when it comes to children, human rage knows no bounds.